congratulations on your win. Could you give us as much detail as possible, your patterns and your baits?
Hey, thanks for having me here today. Do I address you by name?
You can.
Okay. Well, thanks. Today I threw 3 baits: a horny toad, a wake shad, and a Bass Pro Nitro spoon. And that's all I threw all day long. I didn't throw anything else.
Why did you throw the spoon?
I saw a situation with the spoon that I've been in before, and a lot of shad around. I could see a lot of shad down in the water column, and I've been in this situation before and had a lot of confidence in it, and it didn't take me very long to get a bite, and that one bite was enough to say, you know what, I don't have anything else going, I need to stick with this.
Well, how'd you come up with 35 pounds? Where were you? What'd you do?
We were on Center Hill Lake today, and looked like Bull Shoals. Looked a lot like the Ozark lakes that I'm used to fishing. And the only problem was there wasn't hardly any boat docks to fish, but there was plenty of bank. So I spent a lot of time, or all first period, just running bank and doing things that I'm comfortable with. Got a lot of bites, but I couldn't catch any fish.
You really put on quite a clinic today with a winning margin of 17 pounds, 14 ounces. Tell us, did you put all the bass in the boat?
No, I had a very fortunate day. Today was just lucky because I actually got to fish doing something that I like to do, and it worked out just fine. And there wasn't 150 other guys doing it. So I jumped off probably 10 fish today, and very happy with my end result, and very glad the other guys did not stumble onto what I did. But I jumped 10 fish off today, and was upset most of the time about that until about the middle of the third quarter, and I thought, man, I got a cushion now.
You mentioned a little bit about having different baits today than you had earlier in the week. How would you compare Center Hill to Dale Hollow?
Dale Hollow had a lot of grass and stuff in it. Had a lot of targets that you could fish, a lot of laydowns, willow trees, water willow grass, coontail, hydrilla looking. I don't know all that grass stuff, but a lot different. And Center Hill was more of a vertical lake, more straight up and down. They had some clay, pea gravel, and big rock. So the lakes, parts of the lakes looked the same, but Center Hill was more of a one type of situation. There wasn't any flooded timber to be had. There wasn't very many laydowns to be had. So Center Hill was definitely a lot different than Dale Hollow.
So you're kind of already comparing the lakes. Do you think that Center Hill and Dale Hollow lakes are quality fisheries, even though it's tougher to fish them this time of year?
Yeah, this time of year, history on Dale Hollow, and I don't know anything about Center Hill other than today, but Dale Hollow has a great history and a great track record for being a cold water lake, and for big brown bass, which I don't even know if anybody weighed any smallmouth.
What were you catching today?
Today, most of my fish today, with the exception of 3 or 4, were spotted bass. I caught my largest fish. I think I caught one 4.6 or 4.7, was a largemouth, and I know I caught a couple other keeper largemouth. I did catch a Kentucky that weighed 4.1, which is the biggest Kentucky I've caught in a long time, and I live on Table Rock Lake.
I think we're all intrigued by the fact that you caught a lot of fish on a spoon, maybe even more so that you caught them on a spoon around docks, not in deep water like, say, Lake Fork or someplace where you might hit vertical structure in the summertime. Is that something that's peculiar to your part of the country? I've never really heard of that before.
No, well, it used to be pretty popular, around Table Rock. Still is around Grand Lake, still is on Lake of the Ozarks, but Table Rock, all the marinas are off limits now. You can't fish them. So, it's a technique that just works sometimes. And when you're fishing a body of water for the first time, it's kind of like a security blanket. You want to go and do the things that you're comfortable doing, and that was one of the things I'm comfortable with doing. So I grabbed my little Snuggie, which was my spoon, when I saw that big blue roofed boat dock over super deep water. I thought there's going to be bass suspended under there. You can catch them drop shotting, you can catch them flipping a football jig, you can catch them throwing a spoon in there. You can catch a War Eagle spoon. You can catch a 3J jigging spoon. You can flip a Strike King Sexy Shad spoon. You can flip a Bass Pro Nitro spoon. Well, guess what I had tied on? I had a Bass Pro Nitro spoon tied on because that's the only ones I had with me. And I knew from Dale Hollow that I didn't exploit what boat docks there were there with a spoon. So I made sure they were in my box for this tournament in case I saw a boat dock, and it happened.
What was the presentation like? How are you feeding them the bait?
Well, you try to find a empty boat stall to cast your spoon into, and all you do is free spool your line and let your spoon sink. Now you can ride it all the way to the bottom if you want, but most of the time the bass would hit it as it's falling suspended. They're suspended and they'll hit it. So your line, it may jump or it may just quit falling. And when it does, and if you see the footage, it didn't really catch me off guard, but every time it happens, you got to be really quick. And the bass weren't eating that spoon. They weren't eating it at all. And you'll see that I snagged a couple on the side. That spoon would fall through them fish and they go all crazy and they chase it and they swim around it, and there might be 3 or 4 or 5 or a whole herd of them down there. I don't know, but they weren't eating it. And that's why I jumped so many fish off, because they'd just barely be hooked, or they'd be snagged in the outside of the head or something like that. And they come up and they throw that spoon because they weren't eating it.